Alrighty. Going live.
You admitted, Sharon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Miss Carter.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me log out of this. Can I just close this out? All right.
Then I checked the Facebook. I just got a notification.
Oh, okay.
I was, you know, so
Okay.
it works. Right. No, that's cool. And we'll get started here in just a few minutes, trying to give some others a chance to join. Ms. Carter, what time do you guys close today?
At 5.
Oh, nice. What, if you don't mind me asking, what's next door? Is that a bingo place?
No, to the right of me, Phil's Pizza and Cheesesteak. And then to the left is a barber shop. And further down, I think the guy does some type of online sales and people come there to pick up their merchandise. Plus, he now has it open to the public on certain days.
That whole area is usually pretty busy during the week when I'm driving down Salem.
It has picked up quite a bit. I think since the weather is changing and the COVID vaccines are being issued, I'm seeing even a change in the flow of people that comes through my shop.
It is.
Where's the chat?
Let's see. Go on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well. I'm kind of mobile right now, so I'll get off the video, but I'm great and I'm excited to hear what's going on in Trotwood with businesses.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Definitely. Always good to see you, Miss Gwen.
Who is that?
This is Sean Freeman.
Hi. You always know me.
You know, every time you always give me a mom feel, so I always gotta, respect that energy for sure.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Yes, ma'am. Let me see.
Oh, there it is.
He should be soon.
Okay, and we'll be getting started here in just a hair of a minute.
Okay, I'm going to zoom out and run in GFS. I didn't want to be late. My daughter is hosting something for her business today, so I'm out here shopping. So I'll be very respectful and listen.
Oh no, much appreciated. We have to get her a part of the chamber, and I'm glad that she's in Trotwood doing business as well.
Yes. Who is calling me? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why it ain't coming up.
Hey, Chad.
Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you.
Nice to see you, Chad, always.
Likewise to you guys. Excited for the event here today. Thanks again for hosting this.
Okay.
I finally see you. It took me to Google. Hey, Chris. No.
I can get mine. Like 2 more minutes.
Yep, 11:05 seems to be good. Let me see. I want to call Eric or Rick. So get used to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could have ran the video during this time.
Okay, do you trust that Cheryl tried to see
Ready to roll?
it? Yeah, I just respond to it. And I'll get the chance.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone,
Good
and
morning.
welcome to the second annual City of Trotwood Parks and Rec Entrepreneur Summit. My name is Sean Freeman, and I'm representing the Chamber of Commerce, serving as the president of the Chamber of Commerce here in the city of Trotwood. And to my right,
I'm Sierra Lewis. I'm the Parks and Recreation Program Coordinator for the City of Trotwood. And we just appreciate you all joining us today for our second annual Entrepreneur Summit. The purpose of this summit is, our annual summit is to connect aspiring and emerging business owners to subject matter professionals from the private, public, and nonprofit sectors of business. This Entrepreneur Summit allows entrepreneurs to learn what it takes to thrive in business, network with like-minded individuals, and get inspired by those who have achieved success in business.
yes, today we'll, as you mentioned, we'll hear presentations from different businesses throughout the city. We'll have 5 to 10 minutes presentations today from Ms. Cheryl Carter, Chad Downey, Adriel Harris of H&R Block, Sue Bowman of the Trotwood Income Tax, and Audrey Ingram representing Parallax Research. In between those, or after everyone's presentation, we'll take some questions from the audience and from our Facebook audience as well. And then we'll transition into the panel. In between the panel, we have some nice Trotwood news, some community announcements, so definitely don't want to miss that. And after the panel, we'll have breakout rooms and time for each of our panelists to ask questions. So looking forward to today and getting things going. And first, located right now, she's in her business, actually in her shop down on Salem Avenue. So and she's open till 5 p.m. today if you guys want to drop by and say hello. We have Ms. Cheryl Carter with the testimony from the 2020 summit this past September, and speaking to what inspired her to start her business and why she decided to start her business here in Trotwood. Hello, Ms. Carter.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today. I'm not a polished speaker, but I'm willing to participate. My testimony is I've been in graphics all of my life. I have always enjoyed drawing and doing different things. And I did not learn that I could make a living drawing until I entered Sinclair. I have an associate's degree in visual communications from Sinclair. I have worked in the graphic field for over 35 years. I started out with Good Samaritan Hospital in their print shop, and I went from there to what was then called National City Bank. They had an in-house print shop. And I've been printing and graphics for a long time. I did t-shirts from my home for many years, but I did not have that type of client base to open a business. It wasn't until late 2019, 2020, that I saw the opportunity to actually open a storefront. And that was due to the Office Depot closing their shop. And that was even before the pandemic. They had decided to close. So I decided, and I saw that the graphic side of it, which was their copy center, would be a great area to add on to what I currently do and open a storefront. The question is asked, why Trotwood? Because the need is here. You know, with that copy center closing at Office Depot, that left nothing there, well, nothing here as far as the public being able to make copies, send faxes, get things notarized, of that, you know, things of that nature. The closest place would be Inglewood to the UPS store, or Miller Lane to the Office Depot. So on my current job, I was working for Honeywell, had been with them for 15 years. And when the pandemic hit, they sent us home. I worked in the office. I was fortunate enough to go home and work from home. I worked from home from March to June due to the pandemic. And then in June, they offered a buyout. So I began to see the pieces to my puzzle come together. I took that money from the buyout, and that enabled me to open the store in November of 2020. Everybody said, you're going to do this in a pandemic? Well, yeah, that was the, you know, I saw it as the best opportunity for me. You know, I wanted to reach out and get that started before somebody else saw that the need of the copy center from Office Depot closing, you know, do that. So I went ahead and I opened the doors, and things have been slow, but they're picking up, and I believe it's going to be very successful.
Awesome. I do agree. I think things will definitely pick up. And Office Depot was a tragic happening. I believe they closed just at March 13th last year was the day, right?
Yes.
2020. So a lot has happened, you know, in that year, and the fact that you stepped up to the plate to really man, you know, in the midst of a pandemic, provide a need to this community is huge. It's huge. So thank you for that, Ms. Carter.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Any, do we have any questions from anyone out there? Any of our guests, comments? If not, we'll move on to Mr. Chad Downey of the Trotwood CIC. And thanks again, Ms. Carter, for that. Be sure to visit Ms. Carter. Oh, you got it. Congratulations there. But be sure to visit Ms. Carter on Salem Avenue today. She's open until 5. So if you have any printing needs, definitely be sure to see her.
Yes.
Congratulations, Ms. Carter. This is Michelle White. I was devastated that Home Depot. I'm a native of Dayton, but I just moved back. So I'm glad that you have a place, because I hate going to other outside of our area, and I'd rather put the monies back into our area versus going to Inglewood and other places.
Thank you.
So, host, I just sent a question. So are you all paying attention to the chat?
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, we're responding to you now. And everyone, we are a two-man team, two-man and woman team, because Happy Women's History Month this year, and all the other ladies. I should have started today with that. I'm trying to be more intentional about that for the rest of this month of March. But yes, we will be responding to all messages. Give us a hot second as we do. But we'll be moving on, or moving to rather, Mr. Chad Downing of the Trotwood CIC, and he'll be discussing today his efforts and the board's efforts to redevelop the Sears area here in Trotwood. Chad?
Thank you, Sean and Sierra. Again, thank you for hosting this today. Ms. Carter, great to see you here today, and very excited to obviously see where you've come. Just to speak very quickly to her experience, she quickly emailed myself and the planning director for the city of Trotwood about the opportunity she saw with the leaving of Home Depot. And that is, really exciting to see a resident who sees an opportunity and immediately takes action. And, one of the things I also want to talk about here today is really the experience that I had with Cheryl, to give you some additional context and how the CIC can support you in your entrepreneurship endeavors, especially when it comes to finding a physical brick and mortar location. That's something we're uniquely positioned to help you with. But first, I will start with the discussion around the Sears redevelopment and the excitement that we're beginning to build there with that process. So some background. As you may know, obviously the mall was torn down in 2007, 2008 timeframe, and the city owns what was the former mall site. However, a couple of years ago in 2018, 2019, the Trotwood CIC was able to acquire the last remaining piece of that puzzle, which was the former Sears building. And through the bankruptcy process at Sears, the CIC was able to acquire that. So now that we have control of the entire site. So since we've gained full control of the site, we've been doing preliminary pre-development activities. Given the old mall site, there's a lot of easements and legal activities that have to take place to clear that, so that once the site is ready to receive new ideas and potential development. So we've been going through those processes right now to get the site ready. And you may have seen recently in the Dayton Daily News, we've also partnered with a class at Ohio State who is going through their planning and credentials right now, and they're applying their stakeholder input lessons to actually receive input from Trotwood residents and stakeholders in the region. So it's not a completely comprehensive approach that they're taking, but is really the first step in the input process, which is something that's important to us. While we may not be able to include all ideas and concepts, we want to make sure that the community's voices are heard and that we can apply what concepts we can. And obviously, we'll learn a lot from this input, and we have a lot of other places to redevelop in the community that those ideas can come to fruition as well. So we're really excited for that process. As far as what it will be, where it will go, we're still working through that, and we're trying to use the input process to help guide that. But one of the things I can say for certain that we're looking very deeply at is how entrepreneurship can be a primary role in the redevelopment of the Sears building and or the rest of the site. We recognize significantly that it's our small businesses that are the backbone of the community, and that we need to create a resource for those entrepreneurs to either have a physical location to come to, resources and support so that they can continue their growth. So we're working with regional partners to look at how we can expand these opportunities into the city of Trotwood, and hopefully through that process of the redevelopment of Sears. So you can expect here over the next 6 months to hear a lot more as we move forward very quickly here. We're having discussions with developers and various financial tools to help their support of this process. We're looking at using green energy, the PACE financing mechanism, as well as potentially historical tax credits, given the history of the Sears building. And what we want to do is use the Sears building to be a catalyst for the redevelopment of the rest of the site. So we certainly welcome any feedback and happy to answer any questions. But before I step away, what I want to do is also talk about how the CIC can support you in your efforts as an entrepreneur to find a location and work to make sure that you've got a good opportunity for you as far as a brick and mortar location for your business to thrive. So when Cheryl reached out to us, and this is something that we're working every day to improve and create more relationships with our property owners in Trotwood, is to have a way to find you what type of property will fit best for you and what won't. So what we're going to be doing and continuing to enhance is, when entrepreneurs like yourselves need to find a location, feel free to give us a call at the CIC, and we will quickly tap into our network of real estate agents and property owners to help source you those opportunities. And we'll also be a resource for you to let you know if what you're getting into is something that will be supportive of you. We want to make sure, obviously, that all of our entrepreneurs get the best shot, and we don't want you to be taken advantage of as you're growing or have an opportunity that may hold you back from others. So we'd be more than happy to talk with you, and we work very closely with the chamber and the city. And So we think of us as a team here to really help provide you a holistic approach to do what you need to do for your business. So happy to answer any questions, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you today, and exciting to see so much interest, and we really look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Chad does, if you guys don't know, he does some amazing work out here in the city of Trotwood. He's a source of information for a lot of things, definitely real estate development. So I'm happy to work alongside him in spaces and be able to learn from him and connect. Also, I'm not sure if Chad mentioned too, I guess, to just kind of highlight the city of Trotwood as well. There's a Trotwoodian that is taking the class at Ohio State as well. So she spoke in that article how that was near and dear to her heart. But just shows, how everything, that was a real full circle moment, and shows how everything is coming along.
Yes, Sean, you're right. I should have mentioned that. That was a really exciting opportunity. I guest lecture for this class regularly, and we decided this year to have the class do a real hands-on project that's live and real. And come to find out, one of the students is from Trotwood. So really, like you said, Sean, brought it full circle. And I think the product is going to be even more fruitful because of her deep understanding of the community and her connections. And in her discussions with us, she's just been really excited to be able to contribute and to have Trotwood, be known to so many of her peers. And we're really excited to see what they bring back, and having her input, I think, is going to give us a much stronger feedback, because instead of having students who aren't aware of a community, she's been a resource to everybody. So that's just really exciting, and couldn't have planned it better if I tried. So thank you, Sean, for bringing that up.
Definitely.
Hey, Chad, do you mind putting your contact information in the chat box, please?
Absolutely.
For everyone. And then Ms. Carter, could you also do the same, as well as your address? Some people on Facebook are wanting to know the address of your store.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. As you guys know, this is tax season. I believe tax day is April 15th. I personally get my taxes done currently through H&R Block. They always, it's always great customer service. I feel like I'm getting a real thorough conversation and lesson on my money, and, seeing how my spending affected maybe my budget throughout the year. So definitely would love to tune in and hear from Ms. Adrielle Harris today. She'll be discussing more specifically the certified small business services that they offer there at H&R Block.
Absolutely. Good morning, all, and thank you for having me. I'm actually going to open up and do a screen share.
Awesome. And let us know, it might ask us, I think you should be good.
Will it allow?
Let's see.
It's not currently given an option. And if not, I can always go over the information.
We just sent you a co-host information, so you should be able to now.
Yes. All right. Yes, my name is Adrielle Harris, and I'm a multi-team office manager with H&R Block. And today I really just wanted to show some of the changes that H&R Block is making just to service businesses and all offices, not just Block Advisor offices, to make it more affordable and reachable in every neighborhood. So H&R Block, with our small businesses, H&R Block has small business certified tax professionals who specialize in tax. The wealth and knowledge that is available to assist in starting and guiding in the tax laws is priceless. You know, especially with so many businesses starting up at this point, just having that outreach to be able to keep everything lined up, and I guess keeping good records and starting out properly from the start. The goal is to help you meet your financial goals within your business. So sometimes, you know, getting that outside expertise to guide you through the process a little more clearly definitely is an asset. With small business support, our company has seen a growth in the need from the small business community, and we have services available to help not just new businesses, but even, you know, previously founded businesses. Starting a small business does have several challenges when beginning, and, you know, name is definitely one, and making sure that no one else has the same business name is very important, and sometimes can create a challenge just from the start. The entity classification and election, you know, is also a challenge, and then making sure that you have the appropriate federal, state, and city IDs. So some of those services that we're providing, and we do have bookkeeping and payroll, mileage tracking, and then assets. And with the assets, you know, definitely working to make sure that we are categorizing the appropriate depreciation on some assets and making sure that we're keeping a record. That way everything is processed properly along the way, just to create a clear tax record. With the issuing of the 1099 miscellaneous and the 1099 NEC, 1099G and W-2s for employees, you know, definitely assisting and making sure that all of those documents are being distributed by the end of January 31st, just so that everybody receives them in a timely manner, and all deadlines are met. And then with filing the informational returns with the IRS, the state, and the municipalities, Social Security, and et cetera, you know, making sure that those are all filed for your business by February 28th, or at least postmarked by that date. And additional services that are assets, great assets for every business. When completing a business return, H&R Block will complete a profit and loss statement at no cost. So just going the extra to make sure that we're helping every business with that profit and loss statement, not just to see, you know, where they're at, and then also to plan for the upcoming year. The personal financial statement. So that balance sheet, again, additional information, you know, just to kind of help a business not just see where they're at, but definitely also the direction that they're going, and to help them meet that goal. Annual budget projections, completing the federal, state, and municipal tax returns, and then also estimated payments. So when those payments are necessary, making sure that they are aware, they can be made on time, and then just kind of preventing any additional penalty or anything like that. When you have that expectation and that support to carry you through the process, it makes it a lot easier. And H&R Block is just glad to be here to lift that burden and support the community. Any questions on any of that? I know it's a lot of information, but we're definitely here to help. We have multiple offices that are here to support and just kind of share with all of the different tax situations. Every business is different, every startup is different, and we make sure that the tax professionals within each office have the knowledge to support each individual business.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Adriel. I did have a question about the mileage tracking. How is that like to a business meeting? Like how specific does it need to get, I guess?
Yeah, it just, as long as it is within the business need. So if it's, everything pertaining, as long as it's business mileage and not personal mileage, then absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. I think that's something to know. Definitely for a lot of our business owners that may travel. I can't think of how many times I've traveled to a meeting and not
Yes.
counted, the mileage. But as we all know, depending on where they are and where you live, that can definitely add up. So, thank you.
Absolutely. There's several different ways to track it, even on your phone. So we have a lot of additional services. We even have, H&R Block has a My Block app and different things like that that are specialized to help, all clients, regardless of if it's a personal return, a business return. We are in a small business era right now.
Awesome. That's...
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
This is Cheryl, the other Cheryl.
Yes,
You said that this is for small business certification. So you're saying the services that you provide certifies you as a small business owner?
Well, the service, we had all of our tax professionals go through a small business certification to ensure we have the knowledge to help all of the small businesses. Now, we do also offer income tax courses, and that definitely helps to learn, what is beneficial to your business as well.
So then you help small business owners become what they need to be by the training that you have. Absolutely. Is there a cost for those services?
Some of the services, it is a part of filing your tax return. So with the business return, some of those services are included and they're free, complimentary. And then there are some that do have a cost attached.
Okay.
What? Any other questions or comments from anyone? All right. Thanks again, Ms. Harris. Next, we will have in the same office today, Ms. Sue Bowman of Trotwood Income Tax, and she'll be speaking on the tax update for businesses along with the CARES Act funds. And we did have the mayor with the update saying that the tax deadline, and I'm sure Ms. Bowman knows, that the tax deadline has been extended to May 17th this year. I'm assuming maybe due to COVID. So that's great news to know. But Ms. Sue? Make sure she isn't on mute. Oh.
There we go. Sorry about that. I said, yes, the extension date is went from April the 15th to May the 17th this year. The state controls the municipal due date. So therefore we're waiting for the state to extend their date so that the city can extend its date. I'm sure that they will do it. And when they do it, the city tax office will also extend our filing deadline as well. And so I looked at a couple of things and I'm going to hit on a few things. And I spoke with a couple of organizations that help process some of the loans and some of the things that they seem to be lacking on or needed more information on to help our small businesses and our our residents who are looking at starting a business. So therefore, we're going to look at several things so that we can, keep going and keeping in touch and based on a few of those things as we go through. The one thing that we have is I'm going to do this as from the beginning here and hit it this way, is the compliance. Like I say, the legal compliance is the process in which the company business adheres to the complex rules, policies, procedures, and regulations and the business practices in the area that they're in within the city or the state or the federal or anything like that. These are in place often to protect the health, safety, and welfare of others, as well as making sure that the company acts appropriately. And also it protects you. That way you don't have any conflict with anyone, and it keeps your business partners, safe on things. And in our community, we have the federal, state, county, and city laws. When you start looking at things as CIC spoke about, and as our other member there spoke about, we have fire, we have zoning, and we have tax codes within our community that we have to, you want to make sure that you meet those to ensure the safety and liability of the business. We definitely don't want any violations there to where you would end up having any liabilities for someone that got hurt within your business. The other thing on starting a business, this was some of the things that we spoke about. A lot of times when you go in to get a loan or to be able to do things, they want to know what your business plan is. The other thing is your business location. When you're looking at your location of where you want your business to be, is it in a right area for the traffic? Is it going to be something that brings people in? As Chad spoke about the brick and mortar in the area that you're looking at, our previous speaker there, when on her small business, she picked a great location there on Salem Avenue because it's really growing. And then again, as Ms. Adriel brought up, the business name and making sure that you have the right name on what you're going to use, so that way you can apply for the proper federal and state IDs for the federal ID numbers and all, to see if there's any licensing and permits that you may need to be able to run that business within the city or the county.
Oh, wow. Where?
They are in the second to last.
Thank you, sorry.
And then the other is the business bank accounts. This was a biggie because a lot of people kind of commingle their assets there, and they shouldn't when they're doing a business, because you don't want anything to happen to your personal bank account. And then, of course, the foundation. Starting with a strong foundation will help the business grow and succeed. There are simple steps that can be taken to help build a strong foundation. Building that first and staying compliant will help you to succeed because you've started out correctly. And that's what we see a lot of times is when someone comes in and they just started a business and they're not aware of some of the things and they're behind in their city tax or other things. And so when they go to apply for these loans, then they're already delinquent and they have to get those items caught up before they can get approved for those loans. The business structure, that was another thing, knowing what you want to do, because based on how you structure your business, whether it be a sole proprietor, whether it be a partnership, whether it be a limited partnership, whether it be a nonprofit, whether it be a co-op, different things on that structure determines on whether you're allowed to have employees, whether you're not allowed to have employees, how you're allowed to pay things, what type of loans you might be able to get. So when you're looking at the different things on that business structure, you really want to look at it and see where you want to grow to and what you really want to start at and to be ending up at when you're with all your success. There again, the startup choice of a business structure can have a long-lasting effect on the operations, filing taxes, when they're due, what type of tax return you're going to file, whether you're allowed to have employees, about the loan approvals and stuff. there's a, being able to get some of that, and having, you may have a nonprofit that may have to have certain members that has to have different approvals to be able to get loan approved. Open a business has startup debt and liabilities associated with a sole proprietor or partnership as a risk of doing business. As you well know, starting up as a sole proprietor, you're putting your own finances in there. So therefore you're liable for it. You're taking that at-risk debt there. So therefore you have those startup expenses. And so you have to look at those to make sure that it's why it's even more important to keep the business and the personal finances separate, so that you can track those, so that you can do, when you do your profit and loss statements and all, that you can show what you have. Because in doing some of those loans with that profit and loss statement, some of your equipment may have been expensed or it may have been depreciated. So therefore, and certain things that the government allows may be able to be added back in to where your profit is actually shows higher on that paperwork to make you eligible to get a larger loan than it is that on your bottom line of your profit and loss. You say your taxes and your IDs, staying current on all your taxes and make sure that you have the IDs for them. There again, when you stay current, usually on these loans, they want to make sure that you're current because they don't want to give you a loan and put you in a deeper debt. They want to support you and have you grow versus having you in a deeper debt. And unfortunately, as we all know, it's really hard to dig out when you went in the hole to begin with, and it's really hard to dig out, and you get frustrated. So you have to really look at those items when you're looking at applying for these loans. Like I say, having that business plan will help you with the loan, and providing the profit and loss statement is required in the loans or refinancing of the business. You need it for buying equipment. You need it for purchasing supplies. If you get a large order and you have a supplier that you're wanting to work with, you may have to get that line of credit. Making your annual budget for the next year to set your goals. These things really come into play to help you succeed in that business. Licensing and permits, check with your county, city, and fire department to see what the codes are for the type of business you are starting. Check with zoning to see if the area is zoned for business or residential. Make sure you have all the proper permits to avoid any interruption of your business or penalty for unsafe environment. And then what type of business should I start? These are some of the first challenges as being a new business owner. Deciding on the correct type of business structure will help in the future of the finances, grants, and loans. The correct information up front will help prove your business has a business plan and has structure for growth. And that's what we really want to see. We want to see the businesses grow here. I personally am out in the neighborhoods and stuff, and I see the potential and the growth and all the things that can really happen in this community, and you see it happening. I put SWOT here, the analysis, and the strengths. What gave the business advantages in helping you meet the objectives? The weaknesses. What needs improved? Example, capital. Do you need more capital? Is that a weakness that you can't grow and keep going because you don't have enough capital there? Opportunities. Maybe you need some advancement in technology. Maybe there's a change in the government. Maybe there's the need of that style of business. Maybe you need to tweak or add a little bit more. As we saw earlier, we had someone that took advantage of another business leaving and added that to her support to the community, and that's helping her grow more. Threats, things that are out of your control. Example, competition. So when you're looking at everything there, kind of take that and look at it and kind of put that in with your plan. What do you have there? What needs to happen? What can we grow on that? Finance for business. I was reviewing on a couple of things. The American Rescue Plan Act of 21 that was just passed on March the 11th has provided additional funding for the Small Business Administration to administer. It looks like a lot of those are there. You'll get a better rate on some of them, and they'll be there to help you and support you. Plus, we have the CIC, we have our other local advantages there. But when looking at financing for the business, look at what the money is needed for. Just because it's there, don't put yourself in debt if you don't need it, because there may be a piece of equipment that you want a little bit later for that capital, to have that working capital to be able to work with it. You know, is it for working capital? Is it for purchasing equipment or buying commercial real estate? What do you need that financing for? And, you know, and based on the different items and types of loans and interest rates that may apply on the type of business, when we talk about your business structure on what you want to set up, there, you know, depending on what you have available and what you can use it for, those loans have different interest rates. And of course, I myself am going to look for something that has the lower interest rate that can meet my needs, that I know that I'm not giving all that money away in interest that I'm making as a profit. The other thing, look for grants. The SBA has some grants for businesses also. And you know, when usually grants are, you know, usually you don't have to pay them back if the requirements are met for those grants. So in looking out there, there were a boatload of grants. So therefore, look and see if there's something that your business has or that you're working with that has a grant out there that you may be eligible for that will support you and maybe help you buy that piece of equipment. Because, you know, when you buy that equipment to help you grow, you're also going to be able to take and depreciate that equipment out and recapture some of that money also with your assets. And then also your profit and loss statement is going to show what your assets are, and it's going to show that you are growing, and it's going to bring into what you actually have in your profit and loss and what your company has in total assets to help you. I want to thank you. I know this is a boatload of information that everyone is putting out there today, and I greatly appreciate Sean and Sierra for putting this on. And I really look forward to hearing about all the successful businesses coming in our community and growing in our community. And if there's anything that the Trotwood City Tax Department can do to help you or to answer questions for you, I am here. I will be more than happy to help.
Awesome, awesome.
Thank
Thanks.
you so much, Sue.
Yes, thank you. Thank you indeed. I don't see any questions. I think I might be the first. I was the first last time to ask questions. I always have some type of question to ask. But in this case, I have two. One, as far as an asset, what about services? Do they count? Like, say if I contracted a company to do some work, you know, I have an app, so most of my stuff is online. Could I count the money I give to the app developer as an asset, or?
Well, that's you're actually, if you're paying them over $600, you're going to be issuing them a 1099 for what you have paid them, and that's going to come off as an expense to your contractors. If you're doing it as a sole proprietor, you're going to be on a Schedule C on your federal taxes. So therefore, there's a line on there for contract labor, and so it's going to come off of your gross income. And so it's going to be an expense that comes off of there. When you look at assets, let's say those computers that you bought, and that you have an asset there, you're going to recover the cost of that computer you could expense it all out, but if you're looking at that business that's growing, you may want to depreciate it out over the class life, and the computer has a class life of 5 years. So you recapture your cost over a period of 5 years. So therefore, you know, you have that asset here, you bought something new, and you're recapturing your cost over the period of the years.
Wow. And you answered my second question, because that went over my head. I wanted to the depreciation part, and I wanted to make sure that didn't go over anyone else's head.
And depending on what the item is, it has different class lives based off of IRS and all. Your office furniture is 7-year property. Your real estate, you know, residential real estate is at 27.5 years. So like rental properties. You have your commercial buildings, they go a little bit longer. I think they're 31.5. You're really trying my brain here.
Yeah.
But there's other things there that comes into play. So you look at the class life of that asset. So really anything that has that will last for longer than a year, unless you're doing a full what we call 179 depreciation deduction, where you're expensing the whole thing out in that year, you take it over the class life of it. And IRS at times has had the special depreciation also, where you can take a percentage of it. Some of it is up to 50%, some of it, you know, and then your annual depreciation on it too, which then comes off of your gross income, which gives you your net profit in the end.
Ms. Bowman,
Yes.
you did an excellent job. Thank you for the presentation. Would you be willing, or Trotwood, the city of Trotwood, be willing to do a workshop for startups and first-time business owners?
I have no problem. I'm not allowed as a city administrator to do the federal taxes, but I have no problem whatsoever sharing my knowledge and recruiting folks to help us in that field. I have no problem whatsoever.
Because I believe once we are COVID-free, hopefully, that Trotwood needs to attract taxes, businesses, so that we can thrive. And the residents will not have these high taxes for our homes, for our real estate property. So the more businesses you attract into your city, the less taxes the homeowners have to pay. So if we could actually have a workshop for those who are startups and want to bring business or want to bring ideas and business to the area, it would be nice to have something future. And at a nominal fee, I'm sure you might have quite a few people that would want to attend.
I don't think the city can charge when they do a presentation. I'm not really sure on that. I don't think so. But the other part of it is, you know, our municipal tax is one thing. Of course, you have your federal and your state. And I know that the state currently on your businesses, they're letting you exempt out up to the first $250,000 in income in profit that you make, okay? And that's your profit. That's after you've taken your expenses and stuff. But the other thing, when it comes to your real estate taxes, if you go to Montgomery County website and look and pull up your address and view where your taxes actually goes to. Because the city itself, we have a road levy. We do have I think a small general levy on there that we get. But the bulk of your property tax goes to the school. We do have some police and fire levies out there. I know that the Career Technology Center gets so much. The Human Resource levies get so much. Like I said, I think the parks, and not our parks and recs, but I think it's Five Rivers Metro Parks also gets a percentage of your property tax. But it's a really good resource out there to really look at the breakdown of where your real estate taxes goes to and what percentage goes to what area.
Is it not true that if we have more businesses in the area, that it could affect our taxes?
It can help providing more services and also improving different things and also making our life a lot easier. Yes, there's a lot of things that can help. And bringing other businesses into the community. You know, we've lost a lot over the years. I've tracked some of it and all, but we have really held our own. Trotwood has been a fighter, and we've held our own in through this with the support that we have in the businesses that we have. And this, you know, and yes, the withholding from the employees from where our businesses hire has benefited this city tremendously. And the growth of these other businesses as you're starting, like I said, your foundation and your structure to where if you hire, as Ms. Carter, as she built, she's going to put on employees. And so therefore she's going to have withholding that is going to support the city even more. And so, yes, there's a plus all the way around in this community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a
And
question.
I see something about business tax forms on the chat.
Yes, I dropped the business tax forms.
Yes, we do
Mhm.
have we do have the city business tax forms on there. I think we do have the IRS, and like I say, there again, depending on the structure of your business, depends on the type of a federal form that you would be required to file. Because you know, if you're an S Corp, you may have to file an 1120 S form, and those are due at different deadlines. You may be a corporation, you may have to do a 1065, and then do your K1s that goes out to the members of that business. And also, there's a lot of things that comes into play on that part of it. And so that's why it's very important on that business structure and looking at what you want to be and setting that up.
Awesome. For the sake of time, I know Miss Cheryl Carter has a question.
That's
Yes.
okay. I apologize. I knew this. I'm okay. I have the gift to gab. I apologize.
No, that's in settings like that. That is definitely what we need. You know, is the oversharing of information versus undersharing.
Yes, Ms.
My
Carter.
question, yes, my question was about grants. You mentioned SBA and grants. I often hear about grants, but I have not been able to find any.
Oh, really? Well, you know what? I will look out there and see if I can find anything.
Okay.
Because I do know that they had, you know, when the last money came out for the small business, they did have some grant money out there.
Mhm.
So I will go back out there and look and see if I can find anything and try to lead you in the right direction on that.
Okay, I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks again, Ms. Bauman. Thanks.
You're
Ms.
more than
Smith.
welcome. Thank you, guys.
Yes. Did want to reset the room just really fast before we have Ms. Audrey Ingram of Parallax Research, and just if anyone does have a business who is currently listening on Facebook or on our Zoom platform, definitely feel free to share your name, contact information, and who you are in the Zoom chat or the Facebook chat, so that way we can begin to connect with each other on here in the meantime. Ms. White's question led directly into our next presenter, Ms. Audrey, who I've known for some time now and just seen the great and awesome work that Parallax Research does. So to your question, I guess, Ms. White, Parallax Research does, they discuss, or Ms. Audrey will be discussing today, Launch Dayton, and the programs that they offer. They offer a lot of programs for startups at different stages. So I'll let Audrey take the floor and kind of tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you, Sean, and thanks again for inviting us to be a part of the summit today. We appreciate the opportunity to chat with your folks and your community and your entrepreneurs, who we hope to all be part of our community of entrepreneurs as well. And I see my colleague Kiana just popped on here as well. So as I'm talking about the programs, she'll also be a good person for everyone to connect with. Can you make me a co-host real quick?
Yeah. You should have access now.
Perfect. Okay. So as Sean said, I'm an employee of Parallax Research. We work on a grants program. My team of 3 is on a grant that is focused on helping to build the entrepreneurial ecosystem and support entrepreneurs throughout the Dayton region. So we are the team behind a lot of the Launch Dayton platforms that you'll see. So we're Launch Dayton across all your social media. We've got a YouTube page with lots of video workshops and resources on it. We just flipped our new site live today. So if you're checking that out, give us a couple of days to work out the kinks. But we're excited about that. So Launch Dayton is a collaborative of several area resource providers. So it's not just my team at Parallax, even though we run a lot of stuff on the back end. So there's a dozen plus organizations that all work with entrepreneurs, and we try to collaborate together under this Launch Dayton umbrella to make it as easy as possible for you guys to find us. So all of the partners, as we're collaborating, we believe everyone, regardless of their background, should have the opportunity to determine their own economic prosperity. And so we do this by building an intentionally inclusive community that celebrates and supports all entrepreneurs. So we're focused on building an easily accessible environment, creating high caliber programming, and connecting a network of supporters, champions, small business owners, resource providers, etc. So there's a few different ways that we do this. And here is a list of our current, this partner list is ever growing. So some of the current partners that we work with, Entrepreneur Center, Downtown Dayton Partnership, the Trotwood Chamber is one of our partners, Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce, Dayton Kiva. We've also, I see Karlos on the call here somewhere too. So I know there's a document headed our way. Greater West Dayton Incubator is going to be one of our partners. The Hub at the Arcade, the University of Dayton and Entrepreneur Center. It's officially open. That's super exciting. So we're all working together trying to support entrepreneurs. So one of the ways we do this is storytelling. So we have a weekly newsletter, email newsletter that we kick out. We share stories and profiles of businesses across the Dayton region. And when we say Dayton region, we're stretching from Troy to Springboro, from Eaton to Springfield, and everything in between there. If you're in that area, so if you're in Trotwood, don't let Dayton in the name throw you. There's definitely space for you in all of our programs. So check us out. So our e-newsletter, we share stories of entrepreneurs in the area, what they're up to, and we share opportunities. So when there are boot camps opening, workshops available, all that goes out in our newsletter. We currently have a little over 1,800 subscribers, and would love to have you all join us. And then we've published more than 575 stories on businesses and opportunities since this program started in 2016. And then we've got about 6,000 followers across our social media platforms, which we also use to promote local businesses. One program, and this is one that Kiana runs, that I think is really exciting and might be applicable for some of the folks on the call, is our Early Risers Academy. So it is like a business building boot camp. It's 10 weeks long. It is free, usually a couple of hours, one evening a week. There is homework, so you gotta be prepared to put in the time. But if you have a business idea and you want to know like how to make it work and get all your ducks in a row, it's a good place to go. If you've been in business for maybe a year or two, but you just kind of jumped right into it and now you're in it and you're like, oh yeah, I can do this. And now I want to go back and figure out what are those foundational pieces? What are those documents that maybe I didn't know I needed yet when I first started? This is a program that will take you through all of that. There's also some one-on-one coaching that's a part of that. So it's one of our I think top programs, and we get really good feedback from it. It can be a little overwhelming because it is a lot of work. So just go into it knowing that maybe not everything will apply to you right away or in the moment, but you'll continue to have access to this curriculum even after you graduate. So it's a wealth of resources. We have a cohort in process now, and then our next one will be this summer. So it'll be launching in June. So if you're interested, definitely check that out and apply for that. There we go. Another one of Kiana's programs that she manages is our new Launch Dayton Mentor Network. This one we are rolling out this spring as we speak. So for this one, we're looking for businesses who have you've been in business for a little while, you've got at least 6 months of consistent revenue, and you've got a particular growth goal. So something you want to do, somewhere you want to get to in your business, and you're not sure how to achieve that goal. And what we're doing through the Mentor Network is we're pairing you up one-on-one with other experienced business owners who can help you with that specific goal. So we're really excited about the mentors that we've got lined up so far for this program. I mean, they're managing multi-million-dollar companies and looking to give back. And so we're pairing them up and they'll work with you one-on-one to help you grow your business. So that one also, applications are rolling if you're interested. All of these applications and stuff you can find on our website and on our social medias, launchdayton.com and Launch Dayton across all the social media platforms. If you scrolling through, we try to have links everywhere. We also have a program called Early Risers. This is a monthly pitch event. For this one, we're looking for companies that are scalable. So usually like your brick and mortar companies may not be a fit. A restaurant might not be a fit, for example. But if you're bottling your amazing salad dressing that everyone wants, and you're wondering how can I sell this outside of just my community, or how do I get this onto some shelves? At that point, we consider you scalable. So we're looking for scalable companies, people who have something that they can sell and want to sell, statewide or across the country. It's a 10-minute pitch, and usually you end with an ask of the community. Usually it's that you're looking for a connection to a certain person, a first customer. You're looking for a particular team member. You're looking for someone who can help with X in order to grow. And then we've got, a room, it's usually 30 to 50 people, depending on the month, and depending who's pitching and who's in town. And it's a really good room. Folks are really engaged and they're excited about the energy with startups. They want to help these businesses grow, help grow the local economy that way. So they're interested in introducing you to their networks. And that's really where the currency is for early risers. Again, apply. I'm the one who runs that program, so I'm happy to answer questions for you. We do promo videos and stuff with the participants as well. So it's one of our fun ones. And a lot of times it's the first time people are pitching to a live audience of strangers. So it's a really good room. People are really supportive. In the Q&A that follows the pitch, we usually get it's usually about half questions, follow-up questions for you, and then half just suggestions and ideas for you that maybe you've thought of, maybe you haven't, as ways to grow your business. Launchpad. So this one we're very excited about. We had barely gotten it started and then COVID hit, so it's temporarily sort of on hiatus, but as things start to open back up and we're located in the arcade now, we're very excited. So Launchpad is a monthly event. It's both a networking opportunity and a learning opportunity. So the goal with this is like one night a month from maybe 4 to 8 p.m. Every hour there's a couple of different workshops or a couple of different talks available, a couple of different meetups. So like maybe there's some industry specific meetups, you know, folks in med tech are nerding out over here about their regulatory stuff. We've got our food and beverage entrepreneurs over here talking about packaging, and then we've got, you know, a really cool entrepreneur who's sharing their story about how they built their business. And then right next door in the kitchen, we have networking all night. So there's beverages, maybe there's some snacks available. So you can pop in and out of the workshops or the talks or the networking and sort of build your own schedule to get the most out of it for you. And then we've got different groups in there. So you're maybe colliding with folks that you wouldn't otherwise end up in the same room with, because maybe they're in a different industry. And so you wouldn't run across them in the regular day-to-day, but you meet each other at a launch pad and have an idea for a collaboration or something like that. So we're excited about that. We're hoping that they'll start back up in June in person. So stay tuned. And if you have ideas on things you want to hear about, what workshop topics would be relevant to you. I heard one about taxes, so I'm taking notes. Things like that, let us know what you want to hear, and we'll build that into our schedules. And then I think the last one I have here is Launch Dayton Startup Week. So this is a free annual conference on all things entrepreneurship in the Dayton region. So 2020 was year 5. This year will be year 6. And we haven't announced it officially yet, but the dates are September 13th to 16th. So I'll give you a little sneak peek. I'll let you go ahead and mark that off on your calendars. But again, it's week long, it's free. We have a main stage full of speakers, most of them from the area. So like last year, one of our most popular speakers, we had Mr. Stephen Hightower, who is the CEO and founder of Hightower Petroleum, came and talked about how he grew a $400 million oil enterprise based right here in Dayton. So we have some really cool speakers like that on our main stage who are sharing their stories applicable across industry lines. And then we also have some days during the week where we're doing industry specific tracks. So for these, it's like, I am a soap maker. So like I can come on Monday and everyone's in the same place. And we're excited about the Stephen Hightowers in our community. But then on Wednesday morning, I can come back and there's a bunch of sessions specifically for like folks who are in the health and beauty industry or making consumer products that focuses on like, how do I brand my company? How do I pitch a retailer to carry my product? So on those industry specific days, we're trying to get into real tangible workshops on how to achieve something to help you grow your business. And then we've got socials and there's fun stuff throughout the week. You know, it's a conference. We try to make it exciting, but we're really excited about that. And we're just getting into planning for this year's. So in the next couple of weeks, there will be a save the date and we'll be rolling out a nomination form. So if there's someone that came to mind as I was saying this, where you were like, oh my God, they should have so-and-so speak, nominate them and we'll reach out and see if we can get them on our lineup. I think that is, one more, my team. So I'm Audrey. I don't know if I actually introduced myself at the beginning of all this, but I'm Audrey. And then Kiana, one of my colleagues, she'll be in this next panel talking to you guys. She's fabulous. And then John Owen is the third member of our immediate team. So contact any of us. And our goal is really just to connect you to the people who can help you do whatever you're wanting to do. So like I said, we've got a dozen partners that we're collaborating with. Someone also mentioned earlier, like, how do you get certified as a minority business? We've got partners who do that, who will help you get certified as a minority owned business. So reach out, and if we can't help you do it, we will connect you with someone who can. And that is my short synopsis of our team. So if anyone's got questions, I'm happy to field what I can.
What were those dates?
September 13th through the 16th. And we're hoping that this year's will be hybrid. So we're hoping to have both in-person opportunities, but also stream it. So that's our goal currently. Oh, and if you're interested in like past years, on the Launch Dayton YouTube channel, we have all of last year's talks. And I think about a dozen talks from the year before they're all available on YouTube. So you can find them. They're organized in playlists based on the industries that they were for. So we had a health, beauty, wellness day. We had a food and beverage day. All of those talks are available for free on YouTube. If there's some stuff you want to go through and find and get an idea of what some of those sessions are like.
Audrey, that was excellent. You mentioned the arcade, and I've been kind of keeping up. I grew up going to the arcade here in Dayton, and that's like a monument here in Dayton, and for it to close, it was sad to see that. So I see, based on some of the PBS and different talks, that they're trying to develop it again, and then they had a developer, and then something happened and the developers left, and so monies is a factor. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so I can't speak to the specific details about the development. I'm a little newer to the community, but I know there's a long history. But this last round of funding did go through, so that at least part of the arcade is actually open right now. So University of Dayton and the Entrepreneur Center are some of the anchor tenants who helped the development go through this time. So part of the arcade is, I believe it's I'm gonna butcher the amount of square footage, but there's a huge amount of space in this part of it that's called the hub. And so a lot of us who are partners, Launch Dayton partners, who are already collaborating to help the community. A lot of us have offices in that space. So we've got an office that's in the hub. So the window of our office, we look out over the rotunda. It's super cool. I didn't think about it. I should have gone down there today and streamed from there instead of from home. But then like the Entrepreneur Center has an office there. The Miami Valley Small Business Development Center has an office there. Greater West Dayton Incubator is going to have an office there. So if you pop in the front door and you're like, I'm looking to do this, or I'm trying to connect with this, then the goal is like they'll find you someone who's right there in the space that can help you with that. And then there's rooms for conferences. There's a co-working space. So if you're interested in co-working, you can buy drop-in memberships, monthly memberships. There's different tiers. They come with different perks, like hours that you're allowed to book the conference room or the kitchen, things like that. But yeah,
Okay.
the space is open. And I believe there's a phase 2 that's underway now as well, that they're bringing some restaurants and stuff into that first floor around the big rotunda space. So we've heard some things about some restaurants that are coming in there. That's exciting. And then there's several arts organizations in the city that are also moving some offices in there. So the Contemporary is going to have a gallery space. Culture Works has an office in the space, and they're going to manage the events. So it's exciting, and events will be starting this summer as well. I believe I've heard there's a a June wedding booked in the rotunda. So they are booking, and it's exciting. And if you stay tuned for those Launchpad events, the first several months, we're going to be giving tours of the arcade as part of that, so people can get in and get a peek at everything and see what that space is like. And then the startup week this year, we'll be hosting out of the arcade as well. So we'll be doing one day in the rotunda, and then we'll be doing other days in the hub and in some of the other spaces that are available that have some good speaking acoustics and things like that.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Will you help with your organization, help those who would like to have businesses in the arcade that are minorities and women? Assist them with getting spaces in there?
I was gonna say, my team personally won't, but I believe Karlos, who, like I said, I see on here, I think he might be speaking at noon, or I'll tap Karlos in.
Okay.
I know with the Greater West Dayton Incubator, that's part of the work they're doing is making sure that there's a minority-owned businesses featured in the arcade and in this development as well. So sorry to put you on the spot, Karlos, but I think you could probably answer that better than I can.
Right.
No worries at all.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job with that. That is a great question. So I have a satellite office downtown in the hub in the arcade, but the starter location for the Greater West Dayton Incubator is at 1105 West 3rd Street in the historic Wright Dunbar district. But it's very important for us to ensure that there's connectivity between what we're doing at the incubator and at the arcade, right? We don't want it to be, if you're entrepreneur from Trotwood, that you only feel like you can go to the incubator. So creating an intentional synergy. So the person that I report to, Vince Lewis, is the president of the hub, as Audrey mentioned. So the hub is actually its own, connected to the university, but it's actually its own separate 501c3 joint venture between the Entrepreneur Center and UD. Here in the next couple, within the next month, we've been working with a number of people. Key, Launch Dayton, the hub, the incubator will be creating Black Founders Night at the hub. So we'll be giving tours specifically to Black founders. So definitely look forward to that. We think that there's definitely opportunities that will become something that can become an ongoing monthly event. I know I was able to give Brother Sean a tour of that as well. So it's also a possibility that we can specifically give a tour just specifically to the Trotwood Chamber of Commerce here in the very near future, so people can see that space. But all of the leasing is really handled by the Entrepreneurs Centers team, so we can certainly make those connections happen for sure.
Thank you, Karlos. I'll be in touch.
Is the arcade open to the public now?
Yes, the arcade is open. So the hub is fully open for business. And just so you have a sense of where it's located. So it's right on Main Street. The main entrance is right off of Main Street, directly across from the main RTA hub. Is pretty much the best geographical landmark. So if you know where the RTA hub is on Main Street, it's directly across from there. So it's definitely open for business right now. And I'll put some of my information in the chat, as well as the website for the hub as well.
And then I think I saw some comments in the chat, folks who are interested in that boot camp, the Early Risers Academy. So I just dropped a link in the chat for that page with the application link. So that should get you where you need to go there, and it'll give you a little bit more information about the program as well. And then I'll drop my my email in the chat also. But yeah, absolutely, feel free to reach out. Happy to meet and answer questions, or if you guys want to follow up on anything in particular, happy to take those calls.
Thank you so much, Audrey.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. It's always fun to get out and try to get as much information as we can out about the programs that we've got, so people can take advantage of them.
Definitely. And The great thing about those programs as well is that most of them are just asking for your time for the most part, for your time and, you know, a little energy to put in the work for that application. So definitely thank you for the services that you bring um, and that you guys do offer. Uh, for the sake of time, we will have the community announcements video after our panel discussion. We did want to kick off our panel discussion now and kind of really get into things. There's been a lot of great information being shared from all of our presenters, so definitely thank them. Once again, my name is Sean Freeman. This is Sierra Lewis. This is the second annual Trotwood Entrepreneur Summit. It's really great to have everyone here on this warm Friday here in Dayton, Ohio, Trotwood, in our location to be exact. I did want to go around and just kind of introduce our speakers for today. And in introducing each of our panelists, if you guys could just say hello, and then we'll run into our first questions and kind of ping back and forth. If you feel like the question is applicable to you, then definitely feel free to answer. And then I do have one individual question specific to each panelist afterwards. First, we have Ms. Jerica from our county coal care. Ms. Jerica will be audio only because she is on the move. All right, and we know that her products are definitely on the move for sure as well. Jerica has a business factory here in Trotwood, located next to the Precious Blood location. They're off of Salem Avenue. Her business sits off of Denlinger. But Jerica, just thanks for taking the time to join us today. And if you could say hello.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited about being in Trotwood and being on the panel.
Thank you.
Awesome. Next, we have Mr. Karlos Marshall, who serves as the manager for the Greater West Dayton Incubator presented by the University of Dayton. It's great to run into Karlos. We actually connected during the pandemic through Ms. Kiana Daniels on the call. So, you know, it's funny when we were able actually to see each other in person. We have on masks, everything socially distanced. So it's been a while, but it's been a long time, Jourdan, and happy to have you here with us, Karlos.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Next, we have Mr. Jourdan Ivory from his beginnings, I would like to say, are from Trotwood, but you know, he graduated from the area of Dayton. Jourdan is another helpful individual that I hope everyone can connect with. He just has a spirit of help and has a keen skill to be able to kind of recognize what goes where as well, you know, and who should connect with who and build some fruitful relationships business-wise. He's also a man of many talents. He's worked in urban videography and photography with business and brands such as Yelp, Post Malone, Black-owned outerwear, and many more. So, Jourdan, thanks for taking your time to speak with us today.
Hey, Sean, excuse me, Sean, thank you for having me, Sierra as well, and City of Trotwood and everyone here in attendance. I'm blessed to be on this panel with these three phenomenal individuals here, really killing it in the city. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Definitely, thank you. And then last but certainly not least, and a happy Women's History Month to you as well, Miss Kiana Daniels. We have here who has some family and some ties to Trotwood as well, but just as a great advocate for Black and Brown and minority business owners as a whole, just has a very helpful spirit as well, and will connect you to anyone usually you need to know that she feels like you might need to know just out of goodness of her heart and for business, in the 9-to-5 space, Ms. Kiana Daniels.
Thank you for that introduction, Phil. Thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be on here with such amazing people and for all the amazing work you guys are doing in the community. So thank you again.
Awesome. So for the first question here, these questions are just kind of designed to get us thinking because will be shared the conversation goes on after today, right? And if for all of us that are really doing the work, we talk to each other. I know for those that are on the panel outside is Jerica, and I do hope to begin those conversations with her as well. We talk, nonstop about problem solving in our communities, how we can all, build the community up and build our families, as well, family and friends, just everything that has to do with the economy and community as a whole. So these questions are designed to get that thinking going. And we will be resharing this in smaller bites afterwards, leading up to our third annual summit next year. But for our first question, once again, this is for whoever feels applicable to answer. What important steps do you believe, or first steps, should a startup take to act on their idea? They have an idea. What would be those first steps that you guys feel like they should take to get it going?
I'll step in. So from my perspective and really on a day-to-day basis, the conversations that I have with entrepreneurs, I would say the first step is to research. So simple Google research. If you have an idea, just to first see if someone else has that idea, if it's already out there, for kind of two reasons. If it is out there and you still want to move forward with that idea, how do you differentiate your idea in business from whatever is already existing? Kind of the second part is research is just good. Due diligence, it helps entrepreneurs kind of save money and time and effort in the beginning, because essentially most businesses, they get started, they don't do a whole lot of research, and they spend a lot of money, a lot of time, and then they get to a place where things aren't working out. It gets a little bit rocky, and so they either stop the whole business or they just never really excel to the next level. So I would say first, just start out with a simple Google research and do some market research. So that's kind of really important. A lot of businesses that I work with and speak to on a daily basis do not do market research. And they always come in saying that they have the most innovative idea, no one else has it. And I don't like it to be a person who bursts people's bubbles, but oftentimes I have to do that and say, no, actually, there is like 5-10 businesses out here doing the same exact thing. So how are you going to be different? So I'll just say, just as simple as that, just do research first and then talk to people also, just so that you can get feedback. A lot of times people don't want to share their ideas out of fear of someone else stealing it. But I am a person who is of the belief that, what is for you is for you. Nobody else is going to do it the way that you do it or execute it the way that you do. So talking to people, getting feedback to kind of see, it's a part of market research to see, is this even a good idea that somebody would actually pay for, whether it's a service or a product? So I'll say that.
Awesome. Yeah, research is definitely key. Definitely key there.
Yeah, just to add on that, definitely agree with everything that Key said. Doing your market research and due diligence is very critical. But just to address the fear component, I would say that, one of the main things to get going is just to get started, right? A lot of times people sit and wait until their business is in a perfect position to launch. But that's something that, is really a fallacy that doesn't really exist, right? You have to be comfortable with ambiguity, being an entrepreneur. taking on that entrepreneurial mindset, failing fast, failing forward, understanding that your business is not going to be a linear, straightforward process from A through Z. It's really going to be iterative. So you're going to have to be willing to adapt and modify to a changing landscape with your business. So sometimes the biggest thing that you could do is just to get started and get over that fear. And then just, related to some of the other structural components of just operating a business. And that's what I was loving about the early part of this, workshop here is some of the subject matter experts, doing the things, setting yourself up for success in the front end, right? So there are, at least, 4 different structural areas that I could think of that are important for all business owners to consider before they launch, right? That is the legal component of your business, the structure, how that's having a banker, right? That's something, or an accountant, right? That's something that we usually think of on the back end, and a lot of times we don't know where our money's coming in or where our money's going out. So an accountant, and then also insurance, though, right? So that's something that was also talked about just in terms of the liability. But I would also make a distinction between the accountant and the banker, right? The accountant, helping you with profit loss statements, things of that nature. But the banker, everyone, I talk to people every week in terms of access to capital, whether that's loans or grants. I think there's kind of, misinformation out there. I mean, what we know is that entrepreneurs that look like majority of us in this room have historically been marginalized from receiving access to capital. But from my personal opinion, my perspective, whether you're talking about nonprofits, grants, or for-profits or loans, foundations as well as commercial bankers really don't give money to businesses or organizations. They give it to individuals, right? So setting up those relationships on the front end and understanding that initial introduction, it might not lead to you receiving a loan in 6 months or a year, but it's going to come some point in time that you're able to leverage that relationship down the road. So that's what I would, recommend that people look into: insurance and accounting, the legal component, as well as the banking.
Definitely, those 4 key. Those 4 very key. I think, and if you combine those 2, it's no loss. Next, I want to ask about. Jerica, I saw you unmute. Did you have something you want to?
Yeah, I wanted to add in. If you don't have a passion for what you're doing, it's not going to last very long. So combining what Kiana and Karlos said and adding passion to that, your business will probably most likely be unstoppable. But I think that in the entrepreneur community, people are looking to make money and they're not really starting businesses with passion in mind. So when people come to me and ask me, well, how did your business become so successful? This was something that I was passionate about. And when things weren't so good, I kept going because I had an end goal. So I just want to add that.
That's huge. That's huge. So the formula, guys, y'all got is research. Then you have your 4 kind of basic principles of business, with it being legal, structure, accountant, and insurance, and mix in that passion with it, and you, as she said, you'll be unstoppable. And adding, I guess, to the mix, and it's something that I guess I feel like, and just being frankly, in minority communities or sometimes communities where there might be a struggle, is a common theme of customer service, right? And the customer service that you experience, whether it might be, you pull up and it's 7 a.m. and it's no good morning. Simple things that we know doing great business, you really, really need to have. Jourdan, can you speak to, because I've seen you kind of flip a switch, even with the Chamber and with the Cincinnati Herald, to where it's like, man, this is Chick-fil-A, you know what I mean? This is top tier service that I'm receiving. But can you speak to the importance of customer service and what that can do for a business?
Most definitely. Number one, I have to say those three responses from my fellow panelists in regards to the first question were phenomenal. I was sitting here trying to think about how I was going to shorten what you're supposed to say, and you guys did that in a quick synopsis and really broke it down with the gem. So I appreciate all three of you for that. Customer service is the key to business. I was raised by two entrepreneurs who were married and still married 30 plus years later and still in business together. As Sean said, I started my beginnings in Trotwood, Ohio. My parents owned the Latch-On Academies. And so Latch-On, a big staple in Dayton, especially in Trotwood, Ohio. And if you aren't familiar, my parents started in Mount Olive Church, grew their business to buy Sutherland's, turning it into a for-profit daycare facility, taking care of children from the ages of 6 weeks to 14 years of age, with 50% of them being Title 20 families, which are public funds, and the other 50% being private pay families. And something that's different in our environments and ecosystems in terms of minorities, and when it comes to daycare and even just spaces, there's a class issue when it comes to children. So my parents' facility was a mesh and a mosh pit for a lot of different things in terms of how the world operates now, because 50% of that business was private pay, individuals like Sean Freeman and individuals that are on this call that I'll remain nameless, so I won't have to tell, all our daycare stories, right? But the beautiful thing is that we didn't know who was publicly funded. We didn't know who was privately funded. We didn't know that that was a thing. And it wasn't until I got to the University of Cincinnati in 2006 that I realized that kinder cares aren't set up like Latch-On is. And a lot of daycares and Head Start spaces aren't. The one thing that we truly achieved as entrepreneurs and learning from that is that my parents put me on the front lines immediately. And the one thing that you have to do with the customer is greet them, right? So I was previously the program director at the African American Chamber. And I guess I can drop this bomb now. Sean doesn't know this either. I previously have done a lot of freelance work in the meantime, but I just became the state director of public relations for Western Governors University. And I'm the first Black in that space since the existence of the university in the mid-1990s. And thank you guys, I appreciate that. But the piece of that is networking is the key to your success. There's access to a lot of different things out here. Opportunities come few and far in between. And I went from corporate PR, where I was working in food and beverage, teaching individuals culture training, which in food and beverage is teaching you how to greet a table, get the person to spend more money on the check, explaining where the butter comes from, where the pancake mix is made, and how that orange juice is freshly squeezed. So then you have that connection with an individual. Customer service really sets things apart. And when I started the PR position in food and beverage with Sleepy Bee Cafe, which is now award-winning, one of the biggest things that I told them is that we not only will win awards because of the way that we have customer service at the beginning and the end and all the way through, but it will also highlight how individuals experience and taste our food. And one thing I want you guys to take away from this in terms of customer service is that that's how people think about you. My three things in terms of entrepreneurship is integrity, consistency, and persistency, right? If you're persistent, you're going to get through it. If you're consistent, it's going to come. And if your integrity is in place, nobody can say anything about you that maybe isn't, all the way, a fact, right? You want to be able to showcase who and what you are. And we all have haters. Okay, I'm gonna just say it plainly. Okay, as we talk about it, and we talk about customer service, and we're gonna have individuals that are on Yelp that are saying negative things about businesses. You have to think about Black businesses, and as we're talking about the city of Trotwood, individuals coming from another space that are not from the Dayton regional area and coming to Trotwood see something that we don't always see as individuals who are in the space or who have known the space. So in all of that, I want you to take away the fact that if you continue to be polite, overly polite, overshare your ideas and the integrity of what you have going, because like Keith said, there's no way anybody's going to take what's really meant for you and what's yours. And let's just be honest, there's a Shell on every corner, there's a Walgreens on every corner, and right across from each one of those is a BP and a CVS. So listen, if these spaces are competing, you can too. I'm sorry that was long-winded, but
I really feel like that's from the heart. And nah, that's big. That's big. Cause the consistency in the customer service sometimes you is an experience, you know? Like customer service really is an experience. And somebody who lives out here just it's a lot of opportunity for that experience to expand and be a little bit, better to where it's like, okay, yeah, like we all not maybe happy being up at 6:30 or maybe headed where we're headed. But if we can be polite to each other and just keep those small things, you'll be surprised how we rise, as a community and as an economy. Anyone else wanna share to that?
I have a question. So he mentioned Walgreens and CVS on every corner. And I just noticed, and I was shocked that Walgreens on Salem Avenue was gone. So I'm like, I'm a healthcare professional, so I'm like, why is a Walgreens leaving Trotwood? And so those are things that I'm concerned about as we talk about this entrepreneurship. The second thing I want to bring to attention to, and this might not be the platform, is environmental, what do I call it? Pollution. So I would like to know on the corners of Free Pike and Highway 49, what are they building? Because in Memphis, as we know, they're putting pipelines under African-American neighborhoods. So I feel like, yes, we want to be entrepreneurs, but we need to be a safe community as well, and making sure that we're on top of what's happening in our community, what are they doing in our community, so that we can also live without having health conditions. So those are, when we're talking entrepreneurship, we have to partner in all aspects. It's just not food, drinks, or whatever, but whatever businesses that we're trying to bring into Trotwood as well, is it advantageous for our health? So that's my comment.
Definitely. And I do want to just reset the room, and my apologies. First of all, we will get to those things, Ms. Carter, and answer those questions at the end of Ms. White. Sorry. I was thinking about Ms. Cheryl Carter in response to your question about Walgreens leaving Trotwood, and that was why she started copying Go, was because Office Depot left. So, we do still need that entrepreneurship. And that's why we're hosting this summit, to try to give, some highlight to the resources that are available so that we can solve our own problems in that sense. But I do want to let everyone know, if you do have a question, because I do appreciate that question and the environmental pollution, please just drop it in the chat. You can drop it directly to the Sierra and Sean, or you can share it with everyone, and we will be sure to ask those questions at the end. Next, because customer service is a hot topic, I think, in just general. But next, in this question, I would love for Jerica to kind of lead off for us, is what is the biggest component to growing a business? In your case, you've been able to scale to where you have a location there, I believe, and that might be Dayton or Harrington Township. I'm not sure exactly what it's considered, but you've scaled to where you now have a second location, the factory here in Trotwood. What was the biggest component to your growth?
I would say consistency. Again, having a goal in mind. I used to drive past, I grew up in Trotwood, so my grandparents still live in Trotwood. They've been there for like 35 years. I went to Trotwood Madison, I went to Madison Park, and I used to drive past that building that I acquired last year every single day, because I lived in Inglewood. So I have to drive past that building to get to work. And I look over to my left every single day and say, that's where my business is going to be at every day. So once I set that goal, everything that I did just really built towards acquiring that building. Understanding that, I knew that I was going to put my business in our community, but expanding to a market outside of Dayton and Trotwood, expanding to the entire world in order to bring jobs to this area. So the people who do support me from out of state, they are really helping to fund job creation in Trotwood, Ohio. Someone just asked a question. So I manufacture hair care products. So shampoo, conditioner, leave-in, edge control, and things like that. Anything that you put on your hair, that's what I make in that building. To date, I have 30 employees. We are still expanding, so I plan to have a lot more employees within the next 2 years. But I hope that answered the question.
No, definitely, definitely. Consistency, and I think mixed with that passion that probably came from growing up here in this community, definitely helped drive your growth. Karlos or Kiana or Jourdan, would you guys like to speak on scaling a business, and maybe you guys work more so within the machine, whereas Jerica has created? What are maybe a common theme that you guys have seen in businesses who are able to scale?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So again, a couple different areas. I mean, what we know about a lot of our businesses is, they're solo entrepreneurs. Meaning that they're doing everything from creating the ideas to handling their back offices, to taking out the trash, right? And there are different functional areas of business, as I alluded to before. But really, sometimes as the founder of a company, right, you're the visionary. You need to. Some people are the visionary. Some people might be the industry expert on whatever specific field that they're operating in. Some people are good at sales and or marketing. All business, doesn't matter what industry you're in, there is a sales component. And then you also have to have that mindset of being the chief operational officer, right? So being the visionary, the industry expert, whatever industry you're in, sales, and then operations, right? It's a very, very rare individual that's good at all four of those components, right? So the people that I've been able to work with, that I've seen worked alongside, that have been able to scale, if they're not good at all of those components, they have that honesty with their self to recognize, right? It also takes a skill to be able to recognize which one of those four areas that you're good at and which one of those four areas that you need to bring in help. So I think a lot of times as solo entrepreneurs, even as we begin to get some revenue and scale, we don't want to bring in that help, and that can be limiting to growth. So that is what I would recommend is solopreneurs, as they begin looking to scale, is identifying which one of those areas you need to bring in additional assistance. And again, that might not always be having to hire another employee. Sometimes it's bringing in an additional consultant or somebody to do some contracting to help you with those areas. But again, it's very, very rare that one individual is phenomenal in all four of those regards.
I would agree with Karlos. I was just having a conversation with an entrepreneur last week about that, asking for help and identifying their skills, their strengths, their weaknesses, so that they can just really do that self-assessment to figure out what roles do they need to bring in. And also, a lot of entrepreneurs, I don't think, always understand that the role that you start in will eventually change as the business grows, if that is something that you want. So you might start out as the CEO. You'll always be the founder unless you sell it, but you may start out as the CEO, but maybe you're better suited in the COO position or something like that. Or maybe it's customer relations, business development. So I would agree with Karlos on that point. And I would add, and it's something that has been coming up multiple times today in the conversation, is consistency. The people that I work with every single day, is their consistency to bring their business to fruition or to improve the business that they already have, but also putting yourself out there to search for the resources. A lot of people start businesses without having done any research on what resources are there to help them start and or grow. And fortunately, like a lot of the resources in Dayton are free. A lot of them are free. There is no cost for a lot of things to help people start and grow. And I think that is a myth that people are going around in the community saying that they're expensive or cost money. The other thing is, you know, taking risk. You have to take risk in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship itself is a risk, but continuing to take those risks and testing your hypothesis. So if you have an idea or a thought about your business or what it could be and all of that, test it out. Go out and see if what you believe is true. Because if you're the only person that believes that, you're not creating the business for people. You're creating the business for yourself. And the only way that you can be profitable is if you are creating it for a target audience who will support and buy, spend money. So the other thing is, you know, really understanding your market, understanding your industry, understanding, you know, what is it that you're wanting to bring to the community that doesn't exist, or what do you want to make better? So, you know, when entrepreneurs ask themselves those questions, go through all of those motions and steps, those are the people that I see who are successful in their businesses. And then actually, you know, just asking for their help. Don't go at it alone. You don't have to. And I think particularly for Black and brown businesses, I think from historical context and lack of trust and things like that, we have this notion that we have to do it by ourselves because that's just how we had to do it. But times are slightly different in terms of you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to start your business the wrong way so that, you know, your bones and your structure is weak, because you cannot build on a weak structure and foundation. So we, you know, my program, Early Risers Academy, is one of those programs that where we focus on building solid foundations, because we understand that if your foundation is not strong, everything else that comes, I mean, you can navigate that journey without having any of these resources. It's just a lot harder. But if you would like to do it not so hard, especially when you don't have the resources, the capital, and things like that, in limited time, because we're all managing and juggling so many things, especially now in the pandemic, just definitely ask for help. Seek out the services.
Yeah, I have to agree with all of you. I think that, you know, working in the chamber space with a PR mindset, coming from a space where I was touring with large scale artists across the road nationally, it's hard to work with a team in any way, shape, or form. It's hard to work with the team, right? Partnered projects are always rough. And that's where that persistency has to come in as an entrepreneur. And that imposter syndrome that's where it really starts to flare up. Okay. And I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. I've done some awesome things. Okay. My imposter syndrome holds me back on a lot. And Sean will tell you, and Karlos kind of even said it to me in one of our initial conversations. He was like, brother, you've done some things. Like that we done went down a whole rabbit hole on connections and ways that the network is there. And I'll talk more about this when I get my individual question, but the networking space is huge. And in a space like Dayton, like Kiana said, you have to take advantage. We have to take advantage of the free resources. Trust and believe the individuals and the counterparts that you are up against in terms of competition that don't look like you, okay, don't dress like you, are offered different things, okay, and offered opportunities into those different spaces. They're using free resources, okay, or organic resources that are growing in their backyard, honestly, okay, and we're not talking anything, you know, in terms of what's being planted. It's already what's there. And that's something that we don't necessarily have either, is that generational wealth concept. But scaling, okay, is also about that research piece. And I feel like every question that we answer today, guys, is going to be like a repeat, right? But it's truly just brand cohesive to being an entrepreneur. You really have to be honest with yourself. And you have to start with the needs and wants, okay? And if it's money that you want, that's fine. There's a lot of people, I'm pretty sure Elon Musk is in the game for money, okay? I'm starting to think even my man LeBron, as much as he does, is in it for the money. Okay, and in all fairness, I think that that's fair. We are in a capitalistic society where you're allowed to earn. And I think that as Black people, we should try to navigate those spaces. Scaling is serious because you have to identify those weaknesses, and your network comes to be a key piece of that. Because if I know that I need something, I can then go to my network and say, hey, here are my needs. This is my budget. And as an entrepreneur, we have to be honest about the money that we have and the money that we don't have. And I don't want anybody in here that's an entrepreneur counting that 90-day invoice as money today, because it's not. And if you count it as money today, that money's gone, and you'll lose your team, the ability to pay them, yourself, and your business. And I think a lot of times scaling gets confusing to individuals because, like he said, they're removing a hat that they typically have worn. And if you're an entrepreneur, and I've worked with a ton of Black entrepreneurs, and at the chamber, I worked with 306. It's wild to me how many individuals are still wearing the same hat 25 years later. And I'm going to say this wholeheartedly, and my mother won't beat me up for saying this, but, and if you know anything about my parents' daycare, it's still the exact same daycare, okay, that it was in 1989. It's still the exact same daycare. And that's attractive to a lot of people, but there's no website. There's reviews now on their news center, you know, that they're not competing against because they're not even in the internet space. And my mom's like, we don't rock that way. She has a son that has a degree in marketing that helps scale businesses, build teams. And to be quite honest with you, sometimes we get in our own way. Now, let me say this too, okay, before I wrap this, is that I think you really need to take evaluation and research what you have and the needs and wants that are really at your forefront, and find a way to trade your services for their services, okay? Because trust and believe, when you buy that loaf of bread from Walmart, it doesn't really cost $2.69, right? There's some overs on that, right? They're taxing you, in terms of our language, right? They're taxing you on some of that stuff, right? We know what Jordans cost, all right? And we know what we're paying for them. Raise your hand if you're wearing Jordans today, okay, right? But the thing is about that is that, the thing about that, right, is that you are not paying the full price. So think about that when you are offering up your own services. How long is it going to take you in sweat equity to make that happen? And trust and believe that if you're trading services with somebody, number one, the customer service should be on point, okay, because you guys are working together, right? But also then the integrity of that business relationship grows fonder and fonder. And I know, you know, there's several of you on the call that have been on calls with me. I'm all about trade. Okay, and I work with a ton of small businesses as a machine behind the scenes very quietly. So if you're not at the meetings, I typically don't, you know, shout all my clients out, just because PR is different. And individuals will hear who you're working with, right? And be upset about what moves are being made for them. So don't be afraid to share your victories, all right? But be understanding that you have to put people on your team that can help you navigate the space. And last piece on this is that you have to be honest about your bandwidth and self-care. And Black men in corporate spaces, we run ourselves ragged. Black women, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. I don't. So, you know, be honest about scaling, because you need it. You need it for yourself, for your family, for your goals.
Definitely, man. I'm loving the energy behind these answers today. Our last question, just to kind of round it out, and you guys can answer it in your own unique way. The question won't be, or each question, you know, won't be a different question. And then we'll open it up to questions from our audience. Is what unique possibilities do you see for entrepreneurs and small business owners who may own a business already here in Trotwood? I like to start with Karlos, then we'll go Jerica, Kiana, and then Mr. Ivory.
Yeah, you know, I would say that there's just an abundance of opportunities. So, you know, innovation is really where, you know, creative mind meets something that's not being filled. So, you know, Trotwood, like other parts within a city, like other, you know, legacy cities across the country, right? It's not really specific to Ohio, you know, which I would refer to as innovation deserts. And these areas are also synonymous with other type of deserts, whether you're talking about food deserts, health deserts, banking deserts, etc. But what that does create is the opportunity for people to step in to those spaces and really be the change that they wish to see. The great thing, and you've seen it by the presentation that Audrey gave earlier, is that there is no shortage of resources, right? Now, I will say that availability and accessibility is different, right? So there's an abundance of available resources within the ecosystem, but they have not, even presently and historically, have not been readily accessible to Black and Brown entrepreneurs, right? But there are a lot of people working on that. I think this is one component of this, putting together this forum to begin to more readily share information. I think the biggest opportunity before us all here collectively in this room is how do we begin to break down those silos? It's amazing what can be accomplished when nobody cares who gets the credit, right? So I think that's the biggest thing, the biggest opportunity before us. And again, just being willing to share information. That's why I just love that Jerica is here sharing her wealth of knowledge, because that's what it really takes to build a community and to create generational wealth. Because as Black folks, we're all integrally connected to one another in terms of closing a generational wealth gap. So collaborations, intentional partnerships, and creating a collective and widely shared vision, I think, is the biggest opportunity among us all.
Ms. Jerica. And we're just speaking on the unique possibilities we see for entrepreneurs here in Trotwood, or for entrepreneurs or small business owners here in Trotwood.
I think that social media has kind of put a little fog over starting a business or being an entrepreneur. People think it is a lot more expensive than it actually is. People think that, I don't know. People that I've talked to that I've, advised, hey, there are spaces in Trotwood that you can get. And I don't know, they think it's like $20,000 a month to lease these spaces when it's pretty affordable to be in Trotwood. A lot of people also, they kind of tried to discourage me opening that warehouse facility because they're like, there's nothing in Trotwood. I'm like, there's nothing in Trotwood because we're not putting anything in Trotwood. So I'm going to put something there and we're going to see where this goes. But yeah, it's a lot. I don't want to ramble, but yep.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer.
I would say, one of the things that I've been saying about what I would love to see in Trotwood, and I think that there is ample space with all of the vacancies, is Black Wall Street. I want to see that in Trotwood. I think that historically Trotwood was a great city and a thriving city for Black businesses. And, when Salem Mall was there, it was the place for all, like in the 90s when I was growing up, we were there all the time. And it was beautiful to, go into Trotwood to see how thriving it was. And it was just a place to be for Black people. And we had a space. So to see that rejuvenation of Trotwood be a dream come true. And if that is something that you guys are working on, I would love to be a part of that, because I do have some roots in Trotwood. My grandmother lived there growing up, so I was there all the time. My mother currently lives there. And I think that there's again, so much space and opportunity. And to Jerica's point, she's absolutely right. There's nothing in Trotwood because we're not putting it there. And if we start to put it, our businesses there, and we start to work with, the city council, the mayor, and the chamber, we can start getting more businesses in brick and mortars, because that is something on a daily basis. Well, I thought that we were shifting from brick and mortar and more people were going to e-commerce, which that is a fact, but there is also a shift at the same time where people are trying to get back into brick and mortar. And so because there is a desire for that, I think that we have, Launch Dayton and, the entrepreneurial community, we have a stock of, Black and brown businesses that want these spaces. So I think that the collaboration with the powers that be, the people who are doing the development and things like that. We need to be having these conversations so that we can connect the entrepreneurs to the opportunities to be in these spaces, because there is a desire. The other thing, I think there's just, again, I don't know, I don't want to ramble either, but I just think that there's so much opportunity in Trotwood, and I really do hope that Trotwood will take the opportunity to create these spaces. I know that there are some developments that are going to be coming to Trotwood hopefully soon, and if I can help out in any way, I would love to be a feeder of entrepreneurs to these spaces. If we can make some collaborations between, Dayton and Trotwood from the entrepreneurial perspective, which we already are working with Sierra and Sean and a number of other people, just tap in. Anybody on the call, tap in and let's do what we need to do to make this to revitalize Trotwood. It has the potential. It has the bones, and I think it has the resilience that is needed.
Okay, I just want to add, because I am living in Trotwood, very active in Dayton, but coming off a number of community boards by the end of the year, that I too would like to be a part of any effort to revitalize Trotwood, because I put down my roots. And as Keith said, my mom lived here, now I live here. My children grew up really in this house, and there was lots of amenities, when they were younger. And as I look forward to retiring from working for others to working for myself, I'm really interested in working, playing, and living in the same community, in the same vicinity. So, yay.
Trotwood is a phenomenal space, and I think that it has been proven. It has been proven in a number of ways by a number of individuals of color that it's possible to be great in that space and to receive customers and consumers. One thing that I always felt about Trotwood growing up was that, and no different now, is that I felt safe. Traveling with my parents and to different conferences and conventions. And I had siblings who competed in basketball on the collegiate level. So we were always traveling, and I'd see different spaces. And Trotwood is a beautiful, beautiful space. And there's so many roads that lead to Trotwood from a multitude of ways that connect Dayton as a whole. And Trotwood is an open book. And Sean and I have had countless conversations about this. And one of the wonderful things that I think is happening in Trotwood in terms of how the entrepreneurial kind of culture and ecosystem could really revitalize the city is that that's what Trotwood was really built on, in my opinion. The Salem Mall, although now, right, we know how malls look now, but the Salem Mall had actual, large scale vendors and retail stores, but they also had mom and pop retail spaces too. We had every shoe store. People were coming from Columbus, Cincinnati to come to the Salem Mall to shop at a Finish Line, a Foot Action. Salem Mall is one of the last Foot Actions around. And honestly, it had the last Hat World, I think, in Ohio. So if you still have your Hat World card, it works at Lids, okay? But the Salem Mall was it. But also Children's Palace. And my parents took over 4 different facilities and spaces in Trotwood that were completely other things. They went from Sutherland's to Children's Palace, and at Children's Palace, which is now the RTA hub, they were the initial builders of that with the RTA to create a partnership so parents could park and ride the RTA. And being one of the largest for-profit daycares in Ohio, we were taking care of 125 children daily. About Latch On, there was a lot of people there. And so the thing about it is that we have to stop running from this space to have this large scale mindset about how we can grow and be these large scale businesses, or to get to the money, right? To get to the bag. All right, we put it in plain terms. Let's get to the bag. You can do that in Trotwood. And just like Jerica is saying, just because she's based there, those products are being shipped everywhere. And sis, tell me if I'm wrong, but they're being shipped everywhere. And it should be that way. right? Why would you want to move somewhere away from family, away from friends, away from an ecosystem that helped build you and grow you and shape you to who you are? I would not be who I am if I did not have the Ben Freemans in my life. You know, watching school boards put together, watching campaigns and real political science firsthand in Trotwood. And Trotwood's a powerful space. Look at the music that's come out of Dayton in general. Look at all the moves that have come out of Dayton in general. You know, I think that we have to be more intentional about making that move to Trotwood. And when you hear somebody say they want to do something, we have to be intentional about saying, hey, there's a resource for you. And honestly, one of the reasons why I left the chamber was because I felt like I wasn't able to touch enough people. And I was tired of touching people in a single space. And every time I talked about bridging the gap between Dayton to Cincinnati, which is what, 30, 40 minutes, right? Because Springboro claims Dayton still, right? So you're talking 30 minutes from exit 10 to Springboro. You know, the vibe is that we got to come together and make moves together. You know, the entrepreneurial ecosystem is much different up north. Columbus, Cleveland, it's a lot different, especially in this digital space. Trotwood has a lot of room for us to do a lot of tech, a lot of warehouse building, a lot of restaurants, a lot of storefronts, spaces for pop-ups. And I think that the Greater West Dayton Incubator, as well as Launch Dayton, you guys are doing phenomenal things. And Dayton hasn't seen something like that for us. And I hope that I'm not breaking any hearts by just being honest about that. But there's a lot of things that we still have not conquered that are truly at the forefront and almost the past for a lot of spaces that are comparable to us. So we have to be intentional about bringing people together. We got to be intentional about collaborating. You got to be honest about, you know, when you're going to show up to meetings. But the real power, and the one thing that I think was being said earlier in regards to the pollution, the constructions, is a lot of these companies come together and they have lobbying firms that take big money to Washington and to Columbus and to City Hall right there in Trotwood and have conversations about the things that they feel are needed from this position. And they're able to offer trade, offer services, equity and integrity of their businesses to get things done. We should be doing those same things. And I only see individuals like us invigorated about it. You know, I don't want to hate on the older generation, but a lot of times, even in my process, I've been told to stop. And I'm gonna say this wholeheartedly. I feel like I'm finally in a space with WGU that I've earned and that they're excited for me. And I think that that's the kind of invigoration that we need in business. And that was the only reason and the only way I was going back to corporate is if it was a mutual love and respect. Trotwood can create that for each other. We can be that for each other. You know, Trotwood School District was phenomenal for so many years. Sports, phenomenal, so many years, right? Look at the athletes we produced. You know, we have tons of green space. You know, there's so much ability and availability in Trotwood, but we just have to be intentional. And don't be afraid to take somebody there and show them, introduce them to these people. And I think that the most powerful thing I've heard today, you know, I think we've all dropped gems, but was that testimonial that somebody was invigorated this time last year to be able to take their business and find a need in the community and create a resource for us with Copy and Go. So, Michelle, I give you big props for that. And Sean and Sierra, I give you guys all the props for creating this space. Last piece I'm going to say, and I think that everybody on this call should keep this at the forefront. One of the last projects I did with the African American Chamber, and I worked for the Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky African American Chamber of Commerce as the program director. That title is like, how do you fill that out, right? But the one last project that we worked on was with the University of Cincinnati to quantify the economic spend of African Americans in the Cincinnati region. They found that African Americans in Cincinnati spend $1.4 billion. That's the $1.4 billion, the economic impact. And it's crazy because that money has not been quantified before. That's not been quantified before. So I challenge us here to say, let's try to quantify what we spend in terms of Trotwood and what that economic impact is, because then that gives us the leverageability to get more grants, more state dollars, and really gain more integrity for the region.
Man, hey, just want to give a huge applause. I wish we was in person, hopefully this time next year, we will be in person, so we can hear loud applause and not the reaction applause we have on Zoom or the love reaction that we have on Facebook. But definitely thanks to our panelists, once again, Karlos, Kiana, Jourdan, and Jerica, as well as our speakers for today. I do want to take this time to open it up to enter any questions that we may have. I do believe Ms. Troutman had our first question or comment.
Yes, well, thank you all for, I had to miss briefly part of the speakers today because I was at Right Pat. But I do want to say thank you for doing this, because this work I've been trying to do here in Trotwood for over 11 years now. And Mr. Ivory, I am looking forward to the consistency of the support. Before I spent the last 3 years in the heart of Trotwood Madison City Schools as an employee. I was, at the government center, at the school board meetings, at the council meetings all the time, but not really getting information consistently or support to do the work that we're talking about now. So my issue is that I started one of my businesses 11 years ago, and it's A1 Cleaning Service Plus, out of the need for families to be able to get their children to practices, pick up groceries. That was before GM closed. Families had to work 7 days a week. So that left you with no time to do everyday family activities like cooking dinner. And so I started doing it as a free service, and then it turned into a business with no grants and no loans, because I used my health and wellness platform to fund the Dayton Dance Workshop, our nonprofit organization, and my cleaning service. But now with the pandemic, oh my goodness, I don't have the trust. Me going into Right Pat was like, well, no, this is an unsecured loan, so we're not sure if you're going to pay it back, even though I pay my bills. And so as a one-person small business, I can't hire anyone without any funding. So it's like, where do you go? Where do I look? When you research, who do you trust on the internet to know that they're legit without giving all of your information, and you don't really know these people. So Trotwood, I'm still in Trotwood. We're on our third property. I'm actually purchasing Robert Knowles Studios. And when we had the first dance studio right across from Rich's, we were providing those spaces for entrepreneurs to be able to showcase their businesses and sell their products. So I need all the help and support I can get, because I'm staying here. My family lives here. Our businesses are here. We're not going anywhere, but I need the guidance and to make the business strong.
One thing that I don't ever hear anybody talk about in Dayton, Ohio is the Minority Business Assistance Center. And I don't know if there's a stigma against it, but in the Cincinnati region, I work directly at the chamber. They were housed inside of our space. And the Minority Business Assistance Center is, like I tell people all the time, is the access to gold. If you don't have a Launch Dayton or Greater West Dayton incubator space, those kinds of places, the Minority Business Assistance Center in Ohio gives you the opportunity to certify your business. Ms. Troutman, you've been in business for more than a year. So they're there to help walk you through every step of certification. I know that there are a ton of other resources that do the same thing too, and individual freelancers that do it too. So trust is a big thing for that. But understand that they hand out, and now the Minority Business Assistance Centers of Ohio do Veteran Business Enterprise certifications, as well as WBE, Women Business Enterprise certifications. There's also MBEs, which is Minority Business Enterprise certifications as well. there's a ton of resources in the Minority Business Assistance Center network throughout Ohio to really gain access to a lot of different things for your business in terms of certification. One thing that I have to applaud Trotwood on is that we created a partnership with Google to do similar conferences and programs that I saw Sean do with the same instructor who's the Google director here for Ohio. And I mean, those kinds of things, I would take advantage of those opportunities too, to find different ways that you can leverage a network, internet kind of cloud staples is what I call them, okay? Because truly what it is that you get the ability to create testimonials for yourself, navigate the digital space that ways that we don't know how to do. I tell people that we're just as internet ignorant as we are about money at times, you know, and we don't always leverage it for everything. So I will recommend the Minority Business Assistance Center and check out some of these spaces that you can get certified for more dollars.
Okay, thank you.
And Tamiko, congratulations. And I put in the chat, the person for the Minority Business Assistance Center for Dayton is Sinai Samir. I can find his email, or if you contact me, I think you still have my contact. I can make an introduction to him if you would like to speak with him and see what services they have and how you might be able to get certified.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Awesome. And then definitely, of course, want to get tapped into or in touch with rather Chad Downey on the call as well. So exciting. A lot of arms reaching out there to, you know, support you in your journey. What was that?
No,
Oh, okay.
agreed.
Awesome.
Hey, Sean,
Awesome.
real quick.
Mhm.
Can I promote a local business who is a friend of mine?
Oh, of course.
I am kind of promoting it. I have on a T-shirt that's by a friend. It's called Chipmunk Chronicles here in Dayton. It's a local apparel line, Black owned, and he actually just opened up a retail space in downtown Miamisburg, and he is the first Black business to ever hold space in downtown Miamisburg. So I just wanted to shout him out just because I do support him. And if you guys are looking for apparel lines for yourself, your children, anybody, he has a plethora of designs and things like that. And you know, that's something that I do as a supporter of Black businesses, all businesses, but Black businesses. You know, I want to shout everybody out that I can. So thank you for that shameless plug.
Oh no, for sure. Seven has the Hope Dealers beanie, so I'm a big fan of his, and he has a lot of Hillman gear as well. If you guys are Cosby Show fans, so some cool stuff there. Or Cosby Show be in a different world too, I guess, more specifically. Huh? Cool. Let me see. Any other questions? Here, do we have any other questions?
I don't believe so.
All
Does
right.
anyone else have any questions?
This is Michelle, and I apologize for asking questions before the question session. But as I mentioned before in my chat, can you all comment on what's happening with Hair Arena? That was a big staple. I'm probably the oldest person on this call because my parents were one of the first African Americans to move to Trotwood. And I remember when they moved here, I went to college in Atlanta. And I just came back after 40 years to take care of them. So I'm in their home. And I've seen the transition of Trotwood as well as West Dayton. And I'm planted here for right now, and I want to see how we can get more involved with the politics and what is actually going on here, because until we know what's going on with our local politics and our local politicians and getting behind, I feel like I'm going to be the Stacey Abrams of this area, because I'm like, we got to do better within our communities to make sure we put the right people in office. So Hair Arena I went to go see the average white band at Hare Arena. I went to see Wild Cherry at Hare Arena, and a whole lot of other places. So I just want to know, is that going to be a venue for entertainment, or is it going to be something that, do we know what's the plan for Hare Arena? And then I would like to volunteer and become more active with the community as it relates to us bringing Trotwood back to a place in which, like Jourdan has said, and Kiana, we need to be able to bring the whole West Dayton back and make it a Black Wall Street, because back in the day, I worked at West Town. West Town had nothing but Black entrepreneurs. And then I worked for the Black pharmacists here in Dayton. And so I just feel, and we put our dollars back into our communities. And I think that's, my mom, she passed in 27 and my dad passed in July. And one of the things my mom always would tell me, she said, no, I'm not going to Dayton, or I'm not going to Inglewood, and I'm not going to Centerville. I need to put my dollars back in Trotwood. So she always went to Cub Foods. She always went to the we don't have a grocery store now, but she always went up to Trotwood, to I forgot the name of the grocery store that closed. But I just feel like that's what we need to do. We have to work together. There is no way that we cannot. And so that's my comment. And I just want to know what's going to happen to Hare Arena.
Yeah, we do have Mr. Chad Downing.
Who can speak to your question regarding Hare Arena?
Absolutely. Happy to speak to that. So right now, as you probably have all seen if you've driven by Hare Arena, is that the site, the former building, is being torn down. There had been discussions around how to retain portions of the building that had structural integrity, but given the 2019 Memorial Day tornado, we were left with no other options. Well, the owner was left with no other options other than to tear down the building. We see that as a great opportunity, as this is one of the largest contiguous sites in the state of Ohio that's within our region. And this is going to provide a great opportunity for redevelopment. Right now, there's been specific uses that are permitted there through a PUD process for the owner. So right now they have full ownership of the 25 acres, and they're working to get the ownership of the remaining areas, which you may recall are the golf course areas. So part of that site also falls into Harrison Township. So we're collaborating with Harrison Township on the redevelopment of that process. We have had discussions with developers who may be buyers as far as this goes. So what you can expect to see here is the city taking strong action to continue to see development, to work with our regional partners like Montgomery County Economic Development, Dayton Development Coalition, and Jobs Ohio to make this site one of the premier options in the state for, we're not looking for heavy manufacturing. We want to be clear about that. We're looking for quality living wage jobs that can bring new opportunity to the community and something the residents can be proud of. Unlike sites like the Salem Mall, we don't have full control of this, so we do have to work in the confines of the ownership there, but they certainly have to have any end use meet what the city council and the planning commission has approved to date with that PUD. You can expect to see more work and information coming out about the Hare Arena site over the coming months. They just listed the site for sale, so we're beginning to get a lot more interest and continuing to work with our partners to get opportunities looking at that site. So happy to keep that information updated as more comes out, and certainly keep an eye out through items like city council meetings as well as the news in that regard. So just know this is a top priority for us along with some of the other obvious sites, and we're having regular meetings on how to see a very successful redevelopment of that site that the residents will be proud of.
Thank you, Chad. So are we looking to put some type of entertainment platform there, or is it going to be industrial, or do you know?
It will, while entertainment is permitted under the current use structure, any light industrial is as high as it could go. There will be no heavy industrial or manufacturing. We have a great industrial park for those types of uses, so we want to keep this to being something that could be more of a comprehensive redevelopment. of the site. So I can't say for certain that it will be entertainment, but what you can know is that in the sphere of all of these sites, including the former Salem Mall and Sears building and this site as well as others in the community, we are looking at how we can create these opportunities for entertainment, for congregation, for community building effectively. And that obviously is important and something we want to keep in mind. And so, as far as we continue to work through these processes, that's something that's front in our mind, and you can expect to see that in these development plans as we work forward.
May I make a suggestion? One of the things that I noticed in Atlanta and the different suburbs of Atlanta that drew a lot of money and a lot of activities for communities. I live in Riverdale. I have a house in Riverdale, and one of the things that the mayor, if you go to Fairburn, you go to all of the outskirts of Atlanta. Those towns built pavilions and entertainment spots so that families could join and come. The tickets I actually saw Slave and Lakeside at a Riverdale pavilion for $25, and people could bring their picnic baskets and everything else. We had security, and that was pop-ups all around Atlanta. All the major places around Atlanta now have those venues. So that, I think we need something like that to draw families to the Trotwood area. And just like Centerville has the phrase? So we need something similar so that we could bring families together safely to be able to have a venue for concerts and different things like these other neighborhoods. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you for that input. And I'll certainly share that with our development team. And I do believe that there are discussions around how we could bring some sort of pavilion like that for those sort of outdoor events and community and family gatherings. So really appreciate your input. And certainly, as Councilwoman Finley put into the chat, if you want to get engaged and continue to seek volunteer opportunities with the city, you can contact Kara Landis there. So we always welcome community input and certainly appreciate it, and definitely would welcome more volunteers and support in that regard. So thank you very much, Ms. White.
Thank you.
I had a question before I got off of here. Okay, my question is, how can I, as a business owner, become more involved with the city of Trotwood?
That's a good one. That's a good one. And I wanted to say earlier too that I wish we could have just, really wrapped our arms around you a little bit more and welcome you in with the whole red carpet and everything going on. But the Chamber of Commerce was a great place to start, as Ms. Councilwoman Finley listed in there. Our memberships are pretty affordable and come with a lot of benefits. And then of course from there you could, you had the ability rather and say so behind the chamber to kind of just affect a lot of change that goes on as it goes to the programming, because we have another event similar but definitely separate and different coming up in June with the Chamber of Commerce. Usually they're held quarterly. There are quarterly business informational networking groups, but this year I believe we're just doing one. As of right now, we're just doing one that happens in June. But that will be one way. Is there anything else you might be interested in as far as
one thing that I was very interested in was actually giving the community a chance to come in and tour the facility, but I didn't really know how to go about that. I have been, and I just emailed Chad, but I have been for the past, I'm gonna say since October, I've been struggling to find an architectural engineer so we can get rezoned for Montgomery County. And I'm kind of a little worried that they may try to shut my facility down if I don't hurry up and get rezoned. But any engineer I've reached out to, they are completely booked out for months. And this is my first time ever acquiring a building of this size. And I haven't really had the support to navigate this process?
Well, if I can jump in, Sean and Sierra, Jerica, we'll certainly be here to help you through that process at the CIC. That's something we're uniquely positioned to be supportive of. So I'm glad we were able to connect here today. And certainly next week when we can get together, we'll get a plan in place to help you overcome that. That's something that we can do. And we'll bring our planning director in, Debbie McDonald, as well to support that process. But I know we have contacts and relationships who could step in, much like the gentleman, Mr. Ferdinand, who Councilman Finley put into the chat here. He's a great resource and I think could be a great option. But certainly, as far as the other aspect of creating a tour for the community, more than happy to talk with you about that next week, and we can collaborate at the city, the chamber, and the CIC level to create that opportunity here as well.
Okay, perfect. Because I do a lot of research. I feel like I'm the first hair care manufacturing company to be in the city of Trotwood. I don't believe that has ever happened in the city of Trotwood.
I believe you're correct.
You're correct. I've been here my whole life.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So, go ahead.
I was just gonna mention, if anyone would like to be more involved in the city, we do have vacancies on some of our boards. So we have vacancy on our BZA, Board of Zoning Appeals, our Parks and Recreation Board, as well as our Income Tax Board, that we are currently seeking individuals for those boards. If that's something you may be interested in being involved in. And you can find the applications on our city's website, which is trotwood.org, or you can contact our clerk of council, which is Kara Landis, and her email is klandis@trotwood.org. And I believe Councilwoman Finley already put her information in the chat, so feel free to refer back to that information if you're interested in being on any of our boards. You do have to be an elector of the city also.
Awesome.
You said you have to be a what of the city?
An elector of the city, so you have to be able to vote in the city of Trotwood.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Awesome. So I definitely hope we were able to help you out with that, Jerica, and thanks for soliciting your time, and wanting to be more involved with Trotwood businesses. But that's why we have these spaces virtually right now. Definitely physically hope to open up a space or just kind of curate a space. I love this space here in the Cultural Community Center. As a place that we could have those conversations, and these conversations to help solve problems, because that's what I feel like community is all about. We do I want to make sure we had any other questions, comments.
Miss White asked, where's the Cultural Arts Center located? It's located at 4000 Lake Center Drive, and it's in the Sycamore Woods area.
Yep. So we did want to, if there are no other questions or comments.
I do want to add that we have a survey that we would like for you all to fill out regarding this event. So I'll be putting that in the chat.
So as you guys are taking a look at this survey, we do want to also just share with you guys a few community announcements. We have a short video to share with you guys, and then we'll have a special announcement and just kind of fizzle our way out. Are we sharing the screen? No. All right. Oh, cool. All right. Oh, no sound. Huh. Dang, no sound. Oh, sound. That was some good songs. That was a good song, right? But well, was everybody ever able to hear the beat, or you could just see it slide? No beat.
Oh,
Slides only.
okay.
Man, I would have started beatboxing if I
The
would
the the
have.
slide the slides were nice though.
Thank
I
you.
would have went back on that. But our special announcement that we have, that is a surprise announcement, but a special one near and dear to us is the launch of the Trotwood Business Directory. This business directory will serve as a kind of hub for all of the Trotwood businesses to be able to upload their business information as they go, and then also for residents to find all of the Trotwood businesses that are in their area, listed by category and some other filters. So we did want to show you guys just kind of how that process works here.
Yeah.
Is it pulled up already?
Let's see.
And huge thanks to
Chad.
yeah, definitely. Chad Downey. Chad, man, really built this thing from the ground up. It was kind of an idea that he had already, but to really turn it into a live and functional website and directory was very impressive in the short amount of time that he did it in. So, and amongst everything else that he does as well. So, thanks again. Huge thanks to Chad. So here, if you go to Trotwood,
I was gonna say, did you want me to do it?
yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So you'll go to the City of Trotwood's website. You'll click on the business tab. And then under the business tab, you'll find the Trotwood Business Directory. So you'll just click on that and it'll go straight to the Trotwood CIC's page, but it'll take you to the Trotwood Business Directory. So on this page, it kind of describes that this is a partnership between the City of Trotwood, the Trotwood Chamber of Commerce, and the Trotwood Community Improvement Corporation. So down here, you'll see businesses that you can filter, and they have information such as their business description, their website, their phone numbers, what type of business they are, also the physical location of their business, and you can also add your business hours to your portion. So how a person can upload their business to this directory is by clicking on this tab that says upload my business to the directory submission form. So you'll click on that and it'll take you to the form. And this is where you can add all that information with your business name, describing your business, your address, website, your phone number that you would like people to reach you, as well as your business email. You can also upload your business logo. And here is where you will select the type of business that you have. So you can select multiple things that apply to the type of business. And then we also are asking if you are a member of the Trotwood Chamber of Commerce. And if you select no, it'll drop down to ask you if you're open to joining the Trotwood Chamber of Commerce as a member. And a person, probably Sean, will be the person to reach out to you to provide you with more information about joining the Chamber of Commerce. We also have a section if you're interested in learning more information about any opportunities with the city, the chamber, or CIC. You can just click this box. We're also asking if you're accredited by the Better Business Bureau. So if you are, you can put your link to show your accreditation. as well as we're also asking if you could provide us with your primary contact. So this will be a way for the directory team to reach out to you. So if there's any opportunities or anything that we might feel like we would want to partner with you on, we could reach out to you directly instead of your general business information. And then you would just submit the form, and then it will go through a verification process. And once it's verified, it will then go back to, sorry, I went to the wrong thing. Am I still sharing?
I don't think so.
Okay, sorry. Okay, my bad. So it'll be in this form and be listed amongst other businesses. And then if you click on open Trotwood Business Directory, you can see it on a larger scale. So yeah.
Yep. So definitely feel free to check them out. That's my business right there, Central. We also have Michelle. We hope you don't mind. I think we got your permission to use copy and go, and we have the Trotwood CIC here as well. So just a few Trotwood businesses that we have listed here. Miss Cheryl asked. She asks, is there currently printed a small business directory that lists all the small businesses in Trotwood? So no, not yet specifically for small businesses, but that is something as we begin to build this directory out that we could incorporate. That might even be a question, that we could ask as far as they're creating a category specifically on small businesses. So yes, we could definitely, I guess, work with me, Sierra, Chad on just kind of next steps as far as making it happen. So we'll be sure to get with you and make sure that we see it through.
Okay. Yes, Miss Cheryl, we can do that.
Awesome. And Deputy City Manager Stephanie Kellum want to share with you guys that a lot of these, or some of these questions were answered in the chat function of the Facebook post because we did go live on Facebook there. A big shout out to Lindsay Sims of Grow with Google. Me and Sierra attended one of her workshops together earlier this year and was able to learn some tools that's helped us kind of help create and develop this event today. We will be sending a recording of this event out to everyone who registered after the meeting. And be sure to use the hashtag Trotwood eSummit when you speak about this event. We will do our best to break this event up into many bites, many shareable clips that you guys will be able to share with your friends and family and let them know, share with them some of the gems that you received during this event, and hopefully that leads to them watching the whole thing for themselves. Because we do know it's a Saturday, it's a lovely Saturday, and thank you guys for spending it, whether on the go or stationary, with us, talking about businesses here in Trotwood and how to grow and scale businesses to better our economy. Thanks, Sierra and Miss Battle for helping make this happen today.
Thank you, Sean.
Definitely. And thank you all. And we give you guys back 6 minutes every day. So you can hang out here on the Zoom chat, or if you're on Facebook, hang out for a couple minutes as well, and can take yourself off mute, video mute, and we'll stop the recording on Facebook actually. So Facebook, you won't be able to do that. But on Zoom, you guys could take your could show your face and maybe connect with someone here during this brief time. But thank you again for spending time and with us for this second annual Trotwood City of Trotwood Parks and Recreation Entrepreneur Summit in collaboration with the Trotwood Chamber of Commerce. Well,
It's a
thank
mouthful.
you. It is. But thank you guys, and I hope you have a good one.
Thank you.
I'll start the